So today we're going to be putting together a camp stove kit. I make fire places, I guess, out of 55-gallon drum and a kit that we get off of Amazon. I'm not super happy with the kit, but it's functional, it works great. I have one in my chicken coop and I have one in our guest cabin, so they work really well. I'm just not a big fan of how they seal up around the doors, and I'll show you that as we go through it. Here's what it looks like. I get it on Amazon. It's not cheap. It's about 46 bucks, 50 bucks. It comes with, as you see here, it's got the cast iron door, the legs, the flue collar, and the damper, which is pretty much all you need. The other thing about the legs is they're a little bit short, and I'm not a big fan of that either. I wish they were about 2 inches taller. So this one is the one that I have in the workshop that was here when we bought the place. And as you can see, those legs are much higher than the ones that I'll show you later when I start building. This is a really cool door, and it's larger than the kit that I have. So if anybody knows where these guys are out of, I'd appreciate if you let me know. It says Seattle, Washington, but on the internet I haven't been able to find them, because that door is probably 50% larger than the kit door that I have. The other thing that's really nice about this one is this gasket little seam here. This gasket seam is really important for cutting off the flow of air, so that your flow of air is coming through here and not your door. So you can put these really cool gaskets in there, and it cuts off the airflow from the door, and you can seal your door up real good. And then all you can do is control your burn through your vent, which is nice. This also has, which I put this one in because these were both really old, so I stuck these ones in and I didn't put it all the way around. So I stuck this seal in, and it sealed it off, so it does like a twofer. It cuts down on your heat, but it also cuts down on your wood consumption. It's pretty amazing. I got it going today because it's 35 degrees out and there was ice on everything this morning. So big difference between that kit and the one that's on the door over there. And the only difference is I've tried putting a seal on these and it just doesn't let the door close right. So I don't put them on it anymore. So I had somebody order a stove kit, so we're going to go ahead and build one today. I get the kits right off of Amazon. I get the barrels from a local gas company, oil company out of Fairbanks. The barrels are 25 bucks and the kit is about 46, 50 bucks. So I sell them for 175, so I make about $100 in labor for making them. I don't know if that's a good price or if it's a low price or if it's a high price. I'm not sure. I didn't really look into it. Not really trying to get rich, but at least I can do is help others out that are, that have a need for this type of a wood stove, and I get a little bit of labor out of it. Plus, I enjoy doing it, so it's a win-win. Yeah. All right, let's get to work. All right, we're getting to work on the wood stove, the 55-gallon drum wood stove. See what kind of cool toys we got here. One door, the rivets. good. Got your foot pegs, loop, damper. Not sure. A bunch of nuts and bolts. And the directions. It's really easy, simple to follow these directions. Even somebody like me can figure these out. And I'm not very good at this construction building type stuff. I just kind of go after it and do it, you know. So right now, what we're going to do is determine. We're going to mark out we're going to draw where we're going to cut. So we're going to set the door frame, right where we're going to want to cut. So I choose to put the big hole at the top and the smaller hole at the bottom. Some people say that they can, we can just take this plastic part off and it opens up just a top like this that screws on. And sometimes you can unscrew that if you need extra vacuum or extra airflow. So that's why I choose to put that at the bottom. Also, my vent is also at the bottom down there. But I'll center this more towards, center it more towards the top than the bottom. And I'll tell you why. Because when you're sticking the wood inside and you get lots of ashes, you're not going to want to have the ashes built up to where they're going to be coming out where your airflow is at. So that's one of the mistakes I made on the very first one. And I made it so it was like this. And if you can imagine the ash building up, it's just going to come out. So putting it up here, the ash has plenty of space where it can collect, and you don't have to worry about it coming out your vent. So I eyeball it, get it straight. We want it to look nice for the end user, the customer. And then we pull out a super handy dandy black Sharpie, mark it around the edges on the inside, as close to the edge as you can. What I'll end up doing is just cutting off the line on the outside of the line so that we don't have any metal protruding on the inside, so that when people are loading it, they're not going to get themselves cut. Then I'll go back and I will mark my holes for drilling, since we're all right here. And before we move it, we want to mark the vent so that we know where to cut the vent opening at. And again, I'll cut those lines off just so we can have more airflow come through there. Alright, we have the inside marked, we have our drill holes marked, we have our vent marked, and that should be good. We're ready to cut. Or drill. So I'll take the 1/2-inch drill bit and I'll just cut, and I'll just drill into around the corner so that I can get my saw blade in there, and so it's clean when it starts cutting. The cool thing is you don't have to put a lot of pressure on them to cut them. The first one I did, again, learned from my mistake, because I was pushing too hard and I ended up breaking the drill bit, and there's no reason to do that. So just nice and smooth, even cut as you're drilling down through, and it's pretty easy. Yeah, so I got my holes cut. Now I'll just be able to put in my my jigsaw and just kind of go around and clean it up and make it look real nice. So I'm using a 3/16 drill bit to drill the holes for the bolts that hold the front plate on. So I'm sure that different kits might have different sizes. So that was my first trial run. I don't remember what size it was the last time I used them, but 3/16 drill bit isn't going to work, so I need something just a little bit bigger. There you go. There you go. Got our holes cut for the nuts and the bolts. So they say that people have blown themselves up by cutting into these. At least that's what I've heard. So this could be a really exciting video, or it could just be me cutting the door frame and surviving. So, but I think I have it aired out. Some people say fill it with water, but I'm not really creating too much spark. I'm going slow, and I think that's probably the key. But if I get blown up, tell my wife I love her, okay? Well, we're still here. Pretty good cut. See, I got a little bit of a cleanup maybe to do there, but for the most part, all that's going to be covered because I cut on the outside of the line. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I started getting some sparks, which is concerning because I'm not really interested in being blown up, but we're still here. All right, we're going to cut the vent. There's the opening. There's the vent. Here we go. So yeah, I show you what I was talking about with this small one. We can just peel this off of here, I guess. Nothing more than a plastic piece, but inside here is the metal piece that can unscrew. So that if you need more vent, you can just pull it off. Good to go. For putting on the legs, you want to get as flat as possible, and that only makes sense. I mean, you don't really even have to say it, but you want something as flat as possible. And for me, this is an old door that was on the back of our cabin, and I'll come up, and because I learned a couple of ways the hard way that the barrel still, because you're putting wood inside of it, if you put the legs too far to the front and this one too far forward, it's going to be back heavy. So I usually come about 3-4 inches from this line to the front, and that takes care of that problem. And then I'll take about halfway between the crease in the barrel to the end of the barrel, and I'll put the back ones on there, and that seems to create the best stability, the overall best stability. I haven't nailed them down or nothing, still need to mark them, but yeah, that creates the best stability. So now when it gets to the customer, all they have to do is screw it down to something on the floor, and it should work out just great. All right, I'm going to mark these and we'll screw them in once we get the top damper put in. So I went ahead and put the front legs on because I can reach the bolts through the front here, but the back legs, you can't reach the bolts until you get your damper hole put in. And the way to do that, to mark this damper, is just to pull out the damper little retaining pin, I guess it would be. So I took it out. The damper comes right out. So now I got something I can sit on the barrel and I can draw it out. Just be careful you don't lose these things, let them fly all over the place, because you don't want to lose that stuff. Keep track of those springs. Pretty self-explanatory. It's got a curve in it, a concave, to fit the barrel. So obviously you don't want it up like that, right? Okay. So, and I like to center it between the top, this crease, and the bottom of the barrel. And I want to center it right on the top. And then once it's centered, I go ahead and mark my holes to drill. So from here it doesn't look centered, so I'm going to move it just a little bit more. So when I did this one last time, I noticed that it draws itself down. Once you put the bolts in, it'll draw all the metal back up tight. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a seal right around the outside here of some caulk, some 2000 degree caulk. And it's the same thing I'm going to do here, and put a real light bead of 2000 degree caulk just to seal this door off better. I guess the face plate to the door. Alright, we're going to go ahead and drill our holes and cut our hole out for the damper. So if I don't cut this opening big enough, once you put the damper on, and then you put once you put this on, and then you put your damper through, if the metal shows through, it won't let your damper open and close. So you want to make sure that it's got a clear field of movement up and down. One thing living out in the bush, out in Alaska, take your time. There's really no reason to rush. I mean, this guy wants it by Monday, and today is Friday. But if I'm not done by Monday, I'd rather give him a good piece of quality work and give it to him on Tuesday or Wednesday than rush through it and give him a bunch of trash. So, yeah, you get what you pay for, and we want to make sure that he gets what he pays for and do a good job for him. He's putting this in a sauna in his house, so we want to make sure, well, maybe not in his house, but he's putting it in a sauna out back behind his house. But we still want it to make it look good. Happy customer, right? The other thing about going slow when you're cutting is the first time I kind of was rushing, I guess, and I went through 3 of the blades just on like the front door. So, and blades aren't cheap, so just go slow, save yourself some blades, in turn save yourself some money. Because when you live off grid, like this, you don't really have a whole lot of it, you know? The other thing about Alaska and living off grid like this and being careful is you know, if you get hurt, I'm 40 minutes by quad ride, well, 30 to 40 minutes by quad ride just to get to my truck. And then another 30 to 40 minutes to get into town, which can be a dilemma when you're hurt, bleeding. It could be a problem, you know? So slow things down. Life don't always have to be fast. My first 6-8 months out here, I had to do everything fast. And now I do everything much, much slower. There's just no reason to hurry up. Life is a lot slower up here in the bush. It would appear that we got a pretty stable you know what I'm saying. Looks like we did it right. Do that in a minute. Opens and closes. Even with this little lip right here, it helps give it a place to rest. It will open if you force it, but this way you can just open it and then it'll close nice. And inside here, right along the edge, I put a nice little bead of this 1382 degree Fahrenheit fire block sealant. So hopefully that will seal that off a little bit better, so that it'll create a better draft once it starts coming up. Alright, so we got the front door frame on. What I ended up doing was putting a little bead of that 1300 degree caulk on the inside so we could seal up the frame real well. Got our vent open, ready to go. All we gotta do is put the door on, and then tomorrow after this caulk sets up, I am going to start a real warm fire, burn all that excess oil off in there, that's in there, and then I'm gonna make sure to burn all, I'm gonna get a hot enough fire to burn all this extra paint off, because I don't want the customer to be burning paint off and they get fumes and they get sick. So we're gonna burn it off out here, get a hot fire going, and then I'm gonna spray paint it with high heat paint, the same color as this black on the front. I spray painted the front because I didn't want to spray paint this black like this, so I wanted it to keep its natural color. Thought it'd look real nice. Alright, so there you have it. Tomorrow we'll fire it up and get it cleaned out, and then after that we'll scrape it down, clean it up, and then we'll paint it, and then it should be ready for the customer. Alright, thanks. Out here. Hey Max. Hey. Hey. Alright, so today we got the fire going. She's good and hot. If you can see, a lot of the red's coming off, burning that paint off, and you can smell it. It smells real bad, and that's what I was trying to alleviate from the customer, so that they wouldn't have to do this or smell it or deal with it. So lots of red coming off. It'll take I'll probably burn for about an hour or so. maybe more, whatever it takes to get all that off. Okay. Alright, so here's what it looks like after we burn off the paint. As you can see, there's still some paint left on there, but I can promise you the end user is not going to have that kind of heat going. So whatever paint's gone is gone, and whatever paint is left is left. I kind of like this color. You know, it's for some people don't like it. I do. I like the natural look. It's pretty cool, rustic, you know. So on the front, remember when I said I painted it? So guess what I painted over? The red stuff, roger that. So of course that came off, but I had that fire super hot. As you can see, it took all the paint off, at least off the top, almost 100%. And the flue and the damper was almost bright white. I had to scrape her down and get her cleaned up, but she looks good now. Alright, so now we're just I'm gonna tape that off, because as I said before, I don't want it to get painted, this stuff here. But it is what it is. Just a little extra work, no worries, as long as it looks good. Alright, we'll get to painting. Well, that's it with the 55-gallon barrel wood stove. It's fun to build, pretty easy. Directions are real easy. The customer was real happy. Yeah, that's it. All right, subscribe if you like it if you like it, don't like it if you don't like it. Yeah, we'll put some more videos on here in another 10 days or so. Yeah, come back and check us out at the homestead. Alright, talk to you soon.